Hi, I'm Scott Wrighton. I serve as Decatur's city manager. It's our pleasure once a week to give you a little bit more information, a little insight, if you will, into some of the activities and the goings-on of your city government. Of course, probably what's on everybody's mind this particular week is how freeze-thaw affects all of our lives. We had some really low temperatures and it hovered around freezing for some time, and because of precipitation created ice. That got into the cracks in the streets, and so now we have a lot of potholes around town. This is the cycle this time of year. January and February are particularly bad for that. We have 12 snow routes that the Public Works Department uses to plow street and to apply salt and calcium mixture that we use. This is a mixture that enables it to work to lower temperatures, actually down into the teens, to take the ice off the streets. The Public Works Department focuses first on our primary routes before they get to the secondary routes. We have not always salted the secondary routes. We always salt the primary routes. What decision is made as to which we do depends on certain conditions, and we used a lot more salt this particular go around with the kind of ice that we had earlier this last weekend and the days before that. So now we have 5 crews out doing pothole patching because that freeze-thaw gets into the seams of the streets and pops out asphalt, sometimes even potholes that we've patched before. So please know that your Public Works Department is working on that, as well as on getting catch basins open that have been clogged either by ice or by leaves or other street debris that would keep them from draining the streets. You can call the Public Works Department if you have specific requests about some of that. I'd like to spend more time, however, talking about an upcoming initiative of the Mayor and City Council that we call tax increment financing. Now, this name, tax increment financing, is a rather unfortunate one. We didn't come up with the name. It was developed by the state. It's not a very good name for what we use it for community and economic development, and I'm going to explain that in a second. It's a rather unfortunate name because tax, well, nobody likes that word, and increment sounds too much like increase, which this is not a tax increase. And so what it is one of the most powerful economic development tools that local governments here in Illinois have to encourage private investment into properties that would help raise the value, raise the economic level, raise opportunity for all, especially in some of the distressed neighborhoods that we are working to improve here in Decatur. Let me explain a little bit about how it works. What we do is we designate a certain district in the city. In this particular case, it's a few sections of downtown, the residential area to the west of Edwards Street, roughly between El Dorado and Grand, but also some extensions away from that to include the Fairview Plaza commercial area, the Oakwood commercial district, as well as some industrial property on the west side of the CN tracks and on the east side, sort of in between downtown and the Canadian National tracks. It's a map that we're going to show you in this video so you can more clearly see it because it has kind of odd boundaries. But what's common about the entire area is it's an area that has not had over the last several years a lot of private investment. It's been what we would call a distressed area, and in order to infuse more development in it, we're proposing to create a tax increment financing district. Now, every single property owner in the proposed district is going to be receiving a mailer from the city to explain this in a little bit more detail and offer an opportunity to come to a public hearing about it. But let me provide, again, a short explanation of how tax increment financing works. How it works is that it takes the equalized assessed value, meaning about 1/3 of fair market value that's used for tax purposes before or in the very first year of the tax increment financing district. And then as improvements are made, as developments occur, that value will go up. And because a vacant lot becomes something developed or an older building gets rehabilitated, then that adds value, and that value results in higher taxation, especially in commercial properties. And so what the city does by creating a tax increment financing district is it reroutes the additional taxes between the current level and what the higher level as a result of the development creates. That goes into a special fund, and it can only be used for improvement projects inside that district. So it can be used, for example, for public improvements. It can be used to assist a developer who might otherwise not come to Decatur at all, or not choose to invest in Decatur, to make an investment decision, to add new housing in a certain area that doesn't have it, to rehabilitate and fix up, give a facelift to a commercial area that has high vacancy rates, or do other investments that would help raise the economic activity level in distressed neighborhoods. For example, the Old Garfield School project on West Grand and Oakland Street that has been a topic of the city's attention for some time as we try to find ways to rehabilitate that old school and work with the Park District on an adjoining improvement of their park and do some other things in that area. That would be an eligible project for tax increment financing, and several other projects. The other thing that it does is that it does not decrease the amount of taxes that all the taxing bodies receive, because there's like 11 different taxing bodies inside the city of Decatur, all of which separately levy taxes. And the amount of money that they receive that goes to the township or to the school district, which is the largest user of property taxes, or the park district and so forth, the taxes that they receive now will not decrease. But the increase that they might have otherwise received as a result of these improvement projects, many of which wouldn't happen without TIF, are temporarily moved into a special fund for this kind of improvement. So it's a fairly complex concept, but it's a very important device that local governments use to improve economic development. In fact, the city already has 6 tax increment financing districts. We used to have 7. One of them was retired about a year and a half ago, and we're going to be retiring another one here later this year. But so the city of Decatur has used tax increment financing before on a smaller scale. I want to close this video by giving a quick but also really sincere thanks to all the people with the Public Works Department, as well as our first responders, and how they've gotten us through this particularly difficult time of ice and wintry mix. They worked straight through almost 2 days running 24/7 to make sure that our streets were cleared and salted and treated, and our first responders were also dealing with an increase in number of calls as well. So thanks to all of you who give that extra effort to help your city.